Greetings, YouTube. I made this mace here out of a bike gear spoke, a sprocket, and an old commemorative hockey stick. And I really like the overall design. But this isn't all that strong. I mean, if you're swinging it in this plane, you're fine. But if you were to swing it, or someone were to block it, this would break. And I really like this. This is a good design in my book. So, I'm going to do an upgrade. I'm going to move this over to here. And I've decided that, like, the best length for this is probably going to be this. I may check it a couple more times, see how I like the balance, but I think that's the point where I want to cut it off. I'm going to confirm that before I make the cut. Because I find that the sweet spot for this is really right around here for me. This will be a little bit, it's going to be denser and slightly heavier, but by making it shorter, the weight should balance out a little bit. But yet my hand seems to go here quite comfortably. So having all this excess doesn't really seem to be doing much for me. So I'm thinking if I cut it off here, and I rounded off this end already, just for looks, and do the same on this end, then I'll be better off. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to play with this a little bit, see if I like that balance spot, cut it off, and then start the drilling. And then treat the end. And I think I'm going to try my hand at doing a wrap on this, something I haven't done before. So that should be interesting. But I really like this look. And these bolts right there should be also usable on this, because this is a little bit thinner, and these make it through just barely, so they should make it here without a problem. I like the patina on these and everything. It's a nice appearance. Though I did have to break down and go buy myself a container of quarter 20 nuts, because I seem to have scrounged all the ones I had in the shop. So I've still got like a bunch of quarter 20 bolts, but now I need nuts for them so I can do future projects. But so yeah, so that's the first job, is to disassemble this, transfer some marks over here, and then start drilling some holes. So getting the shaft ready was pretty straightforward. It's just drilling 2 holes, mounting the sprocket where I wanted, so everything just fine. The bolts do stick out slightly farther because this is a thinner thing than the plywood was, but I don't mind that. It looks fine to me. So now I'm going to try a wrap, something I've never done before, and I've seen it done. I've never executed it myself. So I'm going to be using this as opposed to actual paracord because I don't know how well it's going to go. I realize also that I don't have a match down here, which is because you like to melt the ends on these kind of things. So I don't have a lighter. I don't smoke, so I don't have a lighter down here. So I have to get myself a lighter for my shop. So when I actually use real paracord, I can melt the ends. This is just solid, nylon weave, so it doesn't have a filler like the paracord does. So we're gonna try this and see how it goes, and see if I like it. Because it's going to give it a more finished look if I can pull it off. And I don't know if I can. We're going to see how it comes out. So, next up, doing a wrap. So there we go. My first cord wrapped handle. I've never made one before. Again, I don't have a match down here, or a lighter down here, so they're just a little ragged, and I'm not using real paracord on this. I'm just experimenting with this, seeing if I like how it looks. In the future, I may wrap other things in the same way, but this came out pretty nice. I think it gives it a decent and a nice finished look. Of course, it's a little bit heavier than the version with the plywood handle, but it still has a nice feel to it. And I did get the sweet spot. I made it a smidge longer. I think I cut it like about an inch longer than I had originally planned, but that's just fine. I like the way the way this came out. So now it's going to be take it outside, get some pictures for my Instagram and for DeviantArt, and I haven't decided if I'm going to make this a video on its own or I tack this on to the other one, because I made this yesterday. I mean, and on the first version. So the second version is being made the next day. But yeah, I like this. It came out nice, and I think this gives it a nice look. So, well, there you go, folks. There is my latest version of my Sprocket mace. I think this is very cool, and I think it would be rather effective. And it's such a nice, simple build. You know, a bar, sprocket, and 2 holes. I mean, this is a project that anybody with access to just a power drill and the stuff and a hacksaw, you could make this. You don't have to make the ends look pretty if you don't want to. You know, you just cut them off square and just file, or just leave it square if you want, and file the sharp edges off and stuff. You don't need to make it fancy. But this is a very simple project, and I think it's the kind of thing that is very good entry level to make a simple thing like this. Anybody can make one of these things, which is kind of the point. My aesthetic is post-apocalyptic weapons. Weapons that are being produced by people who have limited tools and who are making things with what they have. And this is what I've come up with. So there you go. My latest version of my Sprocket Mace.